Hello and welcome to this course on Python for SEO. At the end of this course, all participants who follow along will be able to automate the execution of time-consuming SEO and content tasks such as internal linking, crop budget management, and keyword clustering. You would also get acquainted with the process of using various APIs like the Wikipedia API, the Copyscape API, the Wayback Machine API to execute Python tasks in a time-efficient and scalable way. You would also learn how to detect and resolve some of the most acute technical SEO issues that could plague your website. For example, keyword cannibalization or issues with JavaScript rendering. And you would also learn how to analyze and optimize website performance using Python scripts that you own. This will help you overcome the need to pay out a huge amount of money to subscribe to many SEO tools on the market like SEMrush and Ahrefs. Generally, Python is a pretty useful and versatile programming language. It helps with the handling of large data sets, API interaction, and the automation of repetitive tasks. And it's for this reason why it has become a useful toolkit within the practice of SEO. It helps us to automate tasks. It helps with data analysis, web scraping, and API integrations. But before we can use Python for the SEO function, we first have to set up a development environment. And there are two basic types of development environments that you would need to be able to follow along with all of the scripts I'll be sharing with you over the course of this program. First is Google Colab. So it's a development environment that lives on the web, and so you don't have to use the resources on your own system to execute the scripts. You would largely depend on Google's own servers. But there are some other scripts that we need to deploy in order to manipulate our browser, and you cannot manipulate your browser if your development environment is within your browser. So for scripts like that, I would also advise you to download Jupyter Notebook. You can always find it if you visit anaconda.com. Download the installer that fits with your own operating system, launch the Anaconda Navigator, and within the navigator, you can then open Jupyter Notebook. There are some essential libraries and modules that help to simplify Python's use case within the SEO function. Some of those modules and libraries are one of them is Pandas. It helps with data manipulation and analysis. It allows us to handle huge data sets, allows us to clean data, allows us to create data structures like data frames. And so within the context of SEO reporting and the analysis of SEO related data, Pandas would be a Python module that we would not be able to do without. We also have the request module, and it helps us to interact with the web from within our development environment. So it is the request module that allows us to interact with websites, to query servers, to interact with hosts and domains, and to also interact with APIs. We have the Beautiful Soup module. It's used for web scraping, right? It's a library for parsing HTML and XML documents. So we need Beautiful Soup to be able to access the content that lives on a web page, to access metadata, to access title tags, to access all of the structures that are present within the HTML object model. We also have other libraries like Selenium. Selenium is used for browser automation. We have OpenPyXL. It's used for working with Excel files. And we have Cloud Scraper, which allows us to bypass anti-bot measures. So we are able to interact with websites and APIs without getting blocked for non-human activity or patterns of activity that are associated with malicious bot programs. So here are just some quick examples of what a Python script looks like in case you haven't ever run a Python script before. Now, this is not a program for learning Python, right? You don't really need to know Python to be able to use these scripts. These scripts are like calculators. You don't need to understand programming. You don't need to understand complex mathematics to be able to use a calculator for basic arithmetic functions. So in the same sense, you don't need to understand the nitty-gritty of the way a Python script works or the syntax of the Python language to be able to use these scripts or to automate your own SEO functions. I would also like to introduce you to a Python package management system called pip. Right, it installs all of these Python packages, libraries, and modules that I shared with you earlier, like Pandas, Selenium, and the likes. And as we progress in this program, you will see all of these being used in a live environment.